Okay, what's up? Father Moo here, back again. This is definitely an unscripted, improvised, straight-to-tape video where I will try my best to investigate the Wogglebug, which, as you can see, is now back in his home, installed in my little 4MS pod. I can tell you, though, I've done some pre-video testing, and it does not look good. But that said, miracles happen every day, so let's just see if we can get this guy working. First of all, we're going to do what the commenter suggested, which was to turn all the knobs fully one way first, and then to turn the knobs fully all the other way afterwards, which is supposed to cause the Wogglebug to do something like a factory reset. I can tell you that when I did this in my pre-testing beforehand, the orange light was not lighting up. So it started lighting up now, but the behavior of the Wogglebug is still very odd. The issue I mainly had the last time also was that the notes that were coming out of the two square wave outputs were not changing. They were just constant notes playing over and over again, and that I knew that wasn't right. But even though the reset seems to have done something, I still think my Wogglebug is either damaged or maybe it's just too old. I bought it 10 years ago, and it was already secondhand back then. So maybe it's some of the circuitry is fried or just out of service after all this time. I'm a little surprised to hear that, but I did have a different module of mine die after I'd bought it brand new, and although it got fixed later, it was definitely dead for quite a while. So let's go ahead and try and patch this up and see what we can get. That's one of the Wogglebug voice outputs. It should be a square wave heading into the pinhole. That's the pinhole out into the Rosie. And now we have to gate the pinhole's input. As you can see, the orange light is going at crazy speed, and the green light is going, well, right now it's not going at all, but it was going before. So I'm going to start with orange just because it's giving me something. Oh, there's the green. Okay, let's try green, since he seems to be less of a machine gun speed than the orange one. So I haven't turned up the volume yet. I'm just going to try and monitor this light to see if I can get a regular ping from the green output. Oh, there's a cable in the way. But the green light turned itself off again. There we go. Okay, I'm going to turn it up so you can hear it for a bit. Okay, so I recognize that's not very pleasant to listen to. It's very strange sounds. And that is not what the Wogglebug sounded like when I first used it. In fact, what we got just at the end there was almost a taste of it getting almost right. You could hear, instead of just one note going bah, 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 over and over, you could get like a flurry of different notes. And I remember reading in the manual, like it's the two square waves are kind of like chasing each other, like each one is trying to catch up to where the other one is, and that's why the notes change, something like that in the circuit. But I shouldn't have to run it at such a high rate in order to get those the greater note variety. It used to sound more like a kind of like R2D2 kind of random sequence. Not with the squawks of his filter, but just like how he has low and high pitches. And as you heard, especially in the beginning there, it's just repeated pitches over and over. So I took a break from the noise just to try and explain that. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do now, which is you'll see me experiment with the different outputs. Remember, this is a square, and this is the ring modulated output. And I'm also going to take the outputs of the oscillators on chips and even the LFO and feed them into the inputs on the top left of the Wogglebug. And this is, I think, the clock input. Again, I tried this in my testing, but it didn't really solve the problem. So I'm going to give it one more shot here. I recognize this is not the most musical ambient music in the world, which is probably why it took so long to get to this video, but I can only do what the hardware has given me. And I used the Wogglebug for many, many years, and it's never sounded quite as repetitively annoying as it's sounding today. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it as a module if I thought this is how it's supposed to normally function. But anyway, I think you can just search other Wogglebug videos on YouTube and you'll see it doesn't usually sound like that. So you don't have to take my word for it. But I'm going to give it one more shot here, as I said, using the chips to try and control the speed and get the speed down and get the notes more varied. If we get there, I'll be surprised, but I'll be happy. So let's try one more time. Gosh, well, that was actually almost close to it there at the end. Still not really that interesting to listen to. I remember the Wogglebug's tones being a lot more random and pleasant, but in the end there we were using one of the LFO outputs into this input here, which I think influences the clock but doesn't drive the clock directly. And when we set it to a square wave, it seemed to be something the Wogglebug could accept. So it slowed down, it stopped being a machine gun all the time, and I tried to tweak the pitch ranges of the oscillators, which are these two knobs here, to get them back to something more random, but I didn't quite get what I was hoping to hear. So this is a tough video for me to put up. I try to put up my mistakes as well as my successes. I just don't like putting up something that isn't pleasant to listen to, even to me. So, yeah, I guess you got to struggle through it sometimes, especially with modular. I'm sure there's a lot of wives and girlfriends out there who also think this isn't very pleasant to listen to. But, yeah, it's kind of a mystery for me. Is the Wogglebug malfunctioning, or is it functioning correctly, or is it, despite my calculations, is it somehow underpowered? I guess the only real solution is to put it into one of my other racks and see if I can get it to do what I think is a normal sound again. But I hope that anyone who was watching from the earlier videos at least got a chance to hear the Wogglebug in action. In fact, near the end there was actually two voices going at once. The two different square wave outputs were connected. I never got to the ring modulated output because I wanted to hear the actual pitches, and I thought I was getting kind of close. But the ring modulated output is, if anything, even noisier and harsher. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you for having the patience to slog through this little video here, and never give up, never surrender. That's what I always say. By Grabthar's hammer, you shall be avenged. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in January very soon. Peace.